group, you know, it's first I want to just kind of get a feeling from you guys, like how, you know, what's your rubber guard experience level? How comfortable are you with rubber guard? Like any?
Now you don't know what it is.
Awesome. All right, so we got that. You play some rubber guard? Yeah. Yeah, you play it. Okay. So so cool. So so we'll start. We're gonna start from some real basic stuff, but that's gonna turn into a whole series of things that we're gonna kind of start with the end in mind and work towards the beginning. Because I don't want to just show rubber guard stuff and not show you how can we get to rubber guard. What's different ways we can get to these spots. It's like when I first started Jiu-Jitsu, they'd show you an arm bar and you drill it 50 times. They go, okay, go line roll. But how do I even get to that spot to try the arm bar? When do we learn that? Oh, you'll figure it out. Okay. So I want to show you some of those pathways. So if you want to add, playing some rubber guard into your game, you can, right? And if you're sitting on there thinking like, I'm not that flexible, I don't know if I can do this, like I'm going to show you how to play rubber guard where you don't need a ton of flexibility. Like Max can do all of these moves and he is not a flexible guy. So the more flexible you are, the easier it is, but you don't have to be crazy flexible to do the stuff that I'm going to show. With that, we're going to start right at the beginning showing one entry into it because it's going to get you in the proper position to start playing the rubber guard for this sequence that we're going to play, which we're mainly going to play, for those who know the difference between New Jersey and New York, we're going to be playing from Jersey today. Because I mostly play from Jersey because I play a lot of butterfly and butterfly half and use that for my leg entanglements, and when that isn't there, then rubber guard shows up. And we'll talk about some of that as we play around too. When we're going to start right from butterfly and just entering into Jersey, because that part is really important to have those details down. It's going to really get you in a position where your rubber guard is going to work a lot better, and your control over your opponent's going to work really well. So we're going to start next. Right from cocoon, so I've got butterfly and I've got this overhook underhook, right? So when I'm playing my butterfly guard, I'm looking either for an underhook or an overhook. And this is where Eddie talks about this. If I have a game for the underhook and I have a game for the overhook, I don't care which one I get, right? I can play off of either one. If I get the underhook, now I'm starting to elevate, look for my leg entries, do all of these types of things. But sometimes this guy's like, I know the leg game, like I'm not giving you that. He might even want to force that underhook, like cool, he's giving me the overhook. So I might be digging for underhooks and he pummels back in and takes his own underhook. Cool. Now I have an overhook. That's fine. Once I get this overhook, the important thing when I first hook his arm, and it seems like a small detail, but you'll play with it and you'll feel the difference. I want to turn my hand like I'm reading a wristwatch and put my hand to the back of my chest, right? It's like this. Your instinct is to hold like this, right? Or palm towards you. The problem with palm towards me is my elbow is low, so if he wants to limp arm out, all he has to do is just posture straight up, right? He just has to posture straight up to pull his arm out. That's a problem because when he postures, he's getting back to the spot he wants to be in. I don't want him to be able to go back to the spot he wants to be in. So if I turn my hand over, put the back of my hand in my chest and my elbow is high, now the direction he has to limp arm is by turning that way. Right? So now his posture is still broken and he's turning in a direction that opens him up for more attacks. Right? So this is going to be much better for me, and this is, even if he starts to limp arm, it's still going to lead me right to my rubber guard, which we'll show you in a second. So I get this overhook, back of my hand in my chest, my elbow is high. Right? I'm going to grab a collar tie here. I'm not really caring about getting like a full cocoon and getting this underhook. I just want this collar tie. And the reason is I'm going to hang on his neck as I fall to my right. So we're going to go through the steps one by one, but these next 3 steps, 3-4 steps happen simultaneously. So as I hang on his head, I'm driving my shoulder into his shoulder at the same time because I really want to push his weight this way. Right? And then as I start to fall, I'm going to extend my bottom leg and my toes go to the mat. At that same time, while I'm holding, I'm watching for the cross face. My hand is already here. So because my elbow is already on the mat, all I got to do is turn my hand out to block the cross face if he starts trying to bring this in, right? So at that same moment, my knee is going to the back of the shoulder, right? Where people start to go wrong with rubber guard is they think they want to do this, right? It's like, I got to get to this spot and get right on my ankle. The problem is there's all this space now, and he can just pull his arm out. And now I lose the whole thing. The whole point of rubber guard is to lock the shoulder. That's what we're actually doing, is I'm locking and controlling his shoulder. By controlling his shoulder, now I control his posture, right? So when I connect my hands, whether it's typical mission control or what we're gonna be playing with today, going straight to chill dog, any of these things, like this is just making it tighter. But the first is this pressure down. I need this, right? So we're gonna work first on just getting to this spot, right? Where I have all this in play and I have his posture turned away from me so I can be fully on my side. If he's squared up to me, then I have to play rubber guard flat off my back. And now it is about flexibility. It's about how much hip rotation I have if I want to play from here, right? So if you're really flexible, you can still play this game. You know, I can still work into different things from here, but it requires a lot more flexibility. If I'm on my side and I'm here, like all I gotta do to start looking at clearing his head and things is extend my leg, right? It's a much easier play. I'm just bringing my knee to my chest, extend my leg and bring my foot around, right? When I'm flat on my back, I have to torque my leg. And this is where guys start talking about, oh, rubber guard's bad for your knees. Well, it is if I let my ankle ever get closer to my face than my knee. So I never want my ankle closer to my face than my knee. If I start playing this game where I'm cranking this through, I'm putting a lot of pressure on the outside of my knee. If you follow Richie Boogeyman Martinez, this is how he popped his knee in the ADCC this last time, right? He beat the guy, but then he couldn't compete on day 2 because he popped his own knee, right? And it's because he forced it right here. He does it a lot, and every time he does it, it makes me cringe. But he usually can get away with it because he's so flexible. But that day, that guy was jacked, and he tried to force it anyway, and he popped his own knee, right? So, you know, so even if I'm going to play flat off my back, I'm hugging this knee to me, so my ankle is still further away than my knee. That protects my knee, right? If you don't take anything else away from rubber guard today, this is huge. Never letting your ankle come closer to your face than your knee, right? Ben Eddy talked about this with me at length one time, why he doesn't do certain moves in the rubber guard, and this was the big takeaway. Like, it's don't put that excess pressure on your knee, right? So let's go back. So here's where we're working, right? I got this overhook, I'm grabbing the collar tie. As I fall, I'm hanging on his shoulder, I'm hanging on his head, right? My elbow's going to the mat. As it does, my right leg extends and I point my toes to the mat. My left knee goes to his shoulder and he starts reaching for my head. I just flare my hand out to his elbow and block the cross face. All right, we're just gonna get to here. Again. So we're here, I'm hanging here. I start to lean on his shoulder, get my shoulder higher than his. We come through, pinch, control. Right? So let's play with that and then we're just gonna build off of that. Let's go. 3, 2, 1. Questions on that first part? Making sense? Alright, cool. So we're just going to take this a couple steps further, and it's going to seem like these couple of steps aren't that meaningful, but we're going to go over what's called the Kung Fu move. And I find this all the way up in my purple belts, they still do this wrong. You know, it's a move that's pretty simple once you get it, but when you're trying to figure it out, you're going to way overthink it, and you're going to do it wrong a million times. You know, so I definitely want to get to that spot and talk about that. But we're going to start from the same position, right? So I got my overhook. I'm turning that hand over, back of the hand to the chest, keeping that elbow high, right? Hanging on his head. As I go to fall, I'm leaning on his shoulder to push him that direction. My right leg straightens, my left knee comes to the back of the shoulder, right? As I'm doing this, as I'm actually falling and pushing him, I'm gonna let up on this pressure because I actually want his head to go that way a little bit, right? So as I push, I'm gonna open my chest up and really kind of push him that direction, right? Because this is gonna give me the space now to bring this arm right in here. And for anyone who's played rubber guard, when you go mission control to chill dog, that's a battle, right? Well, I'm just taking the whole battle away, right? By pushing him already with this pressure, like there's the space for my hand right now. I just put it right there and I can go to what we call chill dog. Chill dog is I connect to my ankle right on this side of his head and I'm here, right? So once I get this connection, that's when I pull this arm out, this overhook, and I'm gonna hug my knee, because again, I want my knee closer than my ankle, right? And we're in this spot here. He's usually not gonna keep his head just planted in the mat, right? Like people usually don't like that. So he's gonna kind of fight for a little bit of posture, right? And if he's driving and starting to get you towards your back, all I do is open my chest up and keep pushing down with my knee, right? If I stay tight and he comes up and he pushes me, he's gonna roll me to my back, right? So as he starts to push me, go ahead, I just open my chest up, right? That's how leverage works, right? If I extend my weight away from him, he has to move more weight because of the distance of the weight from him. When I'm close to him, it's not as hard for him to move me, right? I also get more friction with the mat, right? So now I'm right here, right? So I want him to fight for that posture though, because as he does, that's gonna give me the space to hit this Kung Fu move. So now, I'm gonna do this with him, and then I'm gonna do it without him so you can see what I'm doing. But basically, my elbow is gonna start pushing his head away. As I push his head away, that's gonna take my thumb on top of my ankle. As it gets on top, that's gonna allow me to push my foot underneath his chin, right? So the big mistake people do here is they'll turn this over thinking this is gonna help them Kung Fu move. This does not help you Kung Fu move. This stays this way, it's facing you. Right? It's like you're holding the mirror and you're looking at yourself, right? So we're here. As I go to do this, I push his head, my heel comes inside my forearm. That brings my thumb on top. So that now I get on top and I can feed my foot under his chin, right? If I just take my leg from here and I go and just bring it over his head, keep your chin tucked, and I go here, like I'm never getting under his chin. Like this isn't the end of the world, we have other things we can do from here. But I'm not gonna get like the go-go plata, the go-go launch, the go-go roll, some of the stuff we're gonna play with today. You know, so, you know, I wanna get under this chin because it gives me more options, right? So the only way to do that when I'm here is this Kung Fu move. So again, I'm pushing with my elbow against his head, pushing his head away. You know, as my elbow keeps going out, my heel comes over the top of my forearm, and now I can feed my foot under his chin. And we're right here. And now, the first one we're gonna do from here is the go-go plotter, really simple. I reach around, I grab that knuckle with my big toe like it's a rock climbing hold, right? I'm connecting here. And now all I do is point my toes. All right, that's the finish. All right, you'll see people do all kinds of different stuff to finish here, but all I'm doing is keeping my arm tight, and when I extend my toes, it takes the space away between my leg and my arm, right? I'm here, and I do that. All right? And that's pretty hard to stop. Make sense? Cool, so let's go to the beginning. So again, we're here. I've got that elbow high, the wrist against my chest. As I lean and fall, my bottom leg extends. This leg comes here. I'm out. I open my chest up so he can't push hard back into me, get me to my back. This arm's coming in against the side of his neck. Now I bring that ankle up, we hug the knee, right? So we're here. So now, once I get to chill dog, he can't get me to my back, because actually if he tries to push, I just push his head away. Right? Remember getting there, cool. I'm Kung Fu move and now I'm in. Right? Hop out of there for me. So that Kung Fu move, when you get here without somebody there, my elbow's pushing away until it gets on top of my foot and my heel pops to the inside. I come on top, and I push my foot under. Right? Let's try it. 3, 2, 1. You just kind of play with it especially when you're on your own, just getting that movement down. And the big thing is I'm taking my elbow from 12 o'clock and I'm trying to go to 6 o'clock with it. Or 6 to 12. Man, it is definitely Sunday, isn't it? Wow. 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock. You know what I meant. So,
everybody was at the spots last night.
Right. Oh, I got no one checked him on it either. We're like, yeah, you're right.
I got home at 3 a.m. and I was like, I do not want to go, but I gotta be there.
So I'm bringing that elbow out, right? And my hand is staying where it's at. I'm not bringing it under, right? I'm not turning it over. It's just staying here. And I draw the quad, and that brings my hand on top of my foot, right? If you can't do this with your elbow, then it's going to be hard for you to come through it, right? So you do have to have some good internal rotation of your shoulder. You know, it doesn't take a ton, but you have to have some decent internal rotation. You know, it's just like you've seen Ben Eddy do the guillotine that he does, where he's in here and he does all of this. You know, like you have to have that internal rotation to do some of this. If your shoulders are real tight, this may not be the move for you. You might have to work on loosening those shoulders up first to be able to get that motion going. But again, I'm going from 6 o'clock to 12 o'clock. So bringing that elbow up and then I'm pushing that under the chin, right? You know, so once we get it under the chin and we get to that go-go plata, the go-go plata isn't even really what I want. Because go-go plata is a decent finish, but it's not a super strong finish. Because I'm on bottom and I'm trying to push up and take, you know, pressure into his neck. So I would rather have gravity on my side to finish. So I'm going to use the go-go plata position to actually either hit what we call the go-go roll or the go-go launch and end up in a position we call two things, right? So I'm here, we're starting the same way. As I lean and come through, that bottom leg extends, I get that shoulder pressure. Right here, I'm opening my chest, bringing this to the other side, I catch, I hug my knee, right? Kung Fu move, we're under, I grab that big toe. Right? Right now, instead of even bothering trying to finish that go-go plata, I'm going to use that movement to push him away so I can get to my elbow here. Right? Now he has a choice. He can just stay here and not do a whole lot, and I'm just going to keep coming up until we roll all the way over, and I'm going to catch his hand. Or the more likely response is he's going to push back. Right, and as he drives back into me, I'm going to pull my knee to my chest. I'm going to connect my foot to the inside of the thigh, and now I'm just rolling from my right hip to my left hip. And I kick, and I bring him over. And this is the go-go launch. As I come over, I'm looking for this wrist immediately. This is the hand that's the problem. This is what he's going to use to start peeling things off, pushing the leg back over his head, trying to get out of all of this. So this wrist is super important, right? We fall, we get here, get that pressure. Kung Fu move, I'm up, all right? Most likely response as I drive is he's gonna drive back. I pull my knee to my chest, and I'm gonna kick to that wrist. All right, so we land right here. Since I have the wrist and I still have his head in his control, I'm just going to turn, trying to take my toes and connect them to the mat as I lift my hips. Right? My arm is already under his head. So as I do this and I come up, I don't even need to grab my toe anymore. It's all going to be my weight driving straight down with gravity and lifting his head. So as I come up, I make this turn and we finish him right here. Right? I also have other options. We'll talk about several of them. There's stuff here. I can hit arm bars on them. can lock this up and attack this arm bar. There's a lot of different stuff we can do. We'll go over some of those options. Right now, we'll just hit that mountain go-go, right? So again, we've got this position. As I fall, hanging hard, get into turn, get to here, open the chest, connect, kung fu move, grab that big toe, right? I start coming up, he drives in, kick it over, grab that wrist, make the turn, lift his head, we get to go mounted go-go, right? And then you get on at Eddie Bravo highlight reel.
Right.
You see it again? We got it. We're good? Let's hit it. 3, 2, 1.